Alright guys, hello. Our friend Wayne, Jade Lotus, we're going to talk to you about and have discussion on a very interesting topic, foreplay. So is there a point to foreplay? What is its powerful? How long should guys and girls be engaging in this? I'd love to know your opinions, guys. So tell us, what's your opinion on foreplay?
Shall I go first?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, all right. In my opinion, I mean, foreplay starts like when you're first meeting each other, and it's all about like creating a connection, creating a rapport, creating an energy, and it's about building that energy up and growing that energy, and like the longer that you hold back from acting on the next step, the more the energy is able to build up. And it's very much about like being present in the process of creating the connection and creating the energy. So like feeling the other person, having fun with the other person. It's about being sort of like flirtatious. It's about being fun. It's about being childlike. It's about just having a lot of fun and creating a lot of fun. So doing fun things together, like having a great time and really creating also like a feeling of trust together, because the more intimate you get physically, the more you want to have a feeling of trust and a good trust between you and the person that you're going to be with. So and also just having like the energy of fun and just exploring each other in a very like open-minded and childlike way, and that starts way before you get to touching the person's body. And I think like lasting things over a longer period and just being very, very present and very connected with what you're doing is like basically the key to it, And then when it gets more to like intimacy, touching, at the same time, like I think like having the connection, also having the person feeling respected with you feeling respected as well, being aware and feeling into what are their boundaries, what are they comfortable with, and very much like working within that. Because when we start pushing into people's boundaries, we start creating distrust and the feelings of distrust.
So that's a good way to test people's boundaries and if you don't know them sexually, you're saying as well, as foreplay could be used as a testing field.
I think we can feel someone's boundaries, so maybe I might be talking to someone and might not be ready for physical touch, but maybe in 10 minutes I will be ready for physical touch. But the point is to know when is that person ready for physical touch or for touch on a certain part of their body or on another part of the body.
I'll say, well, it depends on the mood of the person at the time, or the conversation that you have with the person at the time, or the feeling of the body. So sometimes it could be into that way.
Yeah, and I mean, mood is something that we create, the energy around the mood is something like we can create. And of course, like we're going to be in different spaces and different times, and that's fine. And those are different moods to sort of work with, and adapting and being in tune with like what's going on in the present with you, with your other person, how those two energies plays together. Because when we go from being like one individual to being two individuals together, we're kind of almost creating this third entity, which is you and your beloved together, and then just experimenting with that and playing with that. So I think foreplay actually can go on for weeks. It can even go on for months before you even start touching each other.
Yeah, it's not always about physical touch. It's about intimacy and non-physical and the energy.
Exactly.
It's not. It don't have to be necessarily physical touch.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be about the mood of the body, the spirit of the body. It's the way you make that person feel. It could be like sometimes it just even can be on the speech. And that person can have a foreplay through even having
through speech.
Yeah.
And I find like emotions are a really important part of like foreplay as well. So if I'm intimate with someone, I like to really express all my emotions. I like to really tell everything about myself, and I like to be heard, and I like to be sort of listened to, and that's a really sexy thing. And also being able to like share your secrets and have a space where you can tell your secrets and be understood and be held and be loved in that space of your secrets.
But some people don't always like to be heard like speech into that sense. Sometimes some people like to be very speechless. So what do you think about that?
About people not liking to speak?
Yeah,
I mean, I do think like as humans we do have the gift of speech, and sure, I think sometimes silence is a great thing, but I think for me, like to sleep with someone where we haven't really talked together is just weird, because I want to know like what they're thinking. I want to know what's going on inside them, and that speech is a way that we get that out. So definitely, I mean, there's times for silence. I absolutely agree. And maybe some people are more silent, or maybe they're like socially more silent. They don't like talk to people in big groups or whatever. But then if you're on your own with them, hopefully they can like open up. Because I think the secrets and the things that people share with each other is what makes a relationship really special, because if you just, you know, go to, for me, if I'm getting this right, if I just go to have sex with someone I haven't really talked to, it's kind of odd for me, I'll be honest, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I share your opinions on foreplay. I think it's a really important part. I think there's a merging between foreplay and actual sex, and we're defining sex by the act of like ejaculation.
Or touching the vagina, or did I touch her breast?
Yeah,
or did
and
I touch
am
her
I doing
body,
it right? And like based on porn and like all this stuff, and I feel like you guys are right, and I resonate strongly with the idea that it starts from the beginning. It's like a dance, and it's we just want to get to the end sometimes, and it's not about the end. It's about merging of the middle, beginning, and end, and it's all just one experience.
And it's about the connection. It's not about did I put my penis in the vagina, did I touch her vagina, did I get her clothes off, or whatever. It's actually about like feeling the connection. And when you really connect with the other person, it's like you start flowing and, as you said, dancing together, and you know exactly what the other person wants. And you know, it's not about like press this button, touch here, or whatever. It's actually about just really knowing exactly what's right in that moment, and almost getting caught into sort of like such a dance that you
it could be like such an
yeah.
exciting part of it, and it's such a key part. And it's not just about, you know, this act, like you said. It's a dance where you can enjoy the moment and have fun in it and treasure it, and it becomes a great memory at the end of the day. Foreplays could be like some of the greatest memories you have in relationships could be defined as foreplay, which is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, when I meet someone and say we're going to be lovers for the first time, the moments before we ever had sex are like so special, and once you've had sex, it's like something changes. It's not to say it's a bad thing, but the moments before, you know, and the time you spend together before you have sex, there's something quite like innocent and precious and beautiful. And in the whole process of basically like just falling in love with the person, loving the great things about them, loving the not so great things about them, just loving them as a whole person. It's just like, it's just a really special, like magical thing, you know.
Can we talk a bit about I know you spent so time-wise, I think I remember seeing on your website or something that you say 1.5 hours for the actual foreplay. I know you said it starts at varying degrees in a relationship, but you said like you gave a time.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
1.5 hours
Mantak Chia
like...
does talk about 1.5 hours. He says it takes an hour and a half to warm the woman up. So he's talking about the man actually stimulating the woman's body for an hour and a half before he penetrates with his penis. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. So the idea is that it takes women a much longer time for their sexual energy to build up and warm up, and then get ready to the point to have an orgasm, where men can normally have an orgasm quite quickly.
Yes.
So it's about bringing the woman into the same place as the man.
I would say it's dependent on the woman, because some women they build up quickly than others. It's like, I'll say like 50-50 in this sense, because some women, sometimes you don't even have to touch them and they get to this way.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but do you think that if the woman has an orgasm really quickly, do you think that she would still enjoy foreplay before sex? Or
It's depend. It's depend on the person.
Yeah, because I would say if I'm with someone and they want to have sex with me without foreplay, it's like, it's almost a kind of traumatic thing, you know. I really like to go through the whole ritual and procedure of opening up my body, you know. Even if I had like 15 or 20 orgasms already, it's really important for me to go through that process, because for me, rushing into sex, it almost like ends up being like a kind of like traumatic thing.
I think for most people, we don't want to rush into things. You want to take your time and enjoy the dance. That's what life's for, and sexual energy is so powerful. So why are we rushing into something and not enjoying? And that's why foreplay is really key to talk about, because it encompasses a lot of things, but it's not just about that final act. It's about the dance and the beginning bits and the memories you create. Like I said, some of the greatest memories you can have in a relationship are foreplay. It's not even about, you know, what you think it's about. So
and sometimes like a look in the eye can be more powerful than, you know, penetration or something like that, you know. But yeah, when you watch like movies and you see sex, and usually there's almost zero foreplay, and you know, it lasts for like 30 seconds, you know, 2 minutes or something like that. And it's kind of setting up this idea that maybe a lot of people have this idea to kind of go quite quickly into sex. But I think that when you actually slow yourself down and build the energy, slow both of your speed down and just spend a longer time, you know, it's such a beautiful experience, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wayne, do you reckon you agree with us?
I agree on that one. I agree.
Alright guys, so thanks. So that was just this general discussion from us of viewpoints on foreplay. Wayne, Jade Lotus, and Felicity of Harry. Peace.
Peace.
And Ghost Panda down here.
And Panda.
Yeah.
Edited that bit out. Edit and magic.
And as soon as that happened, a red battery.
No way.